Friends, family, fans, what the hell's cooking? Got a new camera setup here. I don't know. Going to try and get a little closer to the microphone, which I haven't been doing, but as a result, we've had to change the camera setup a little bit because otherwise the camera's like right in my face. I don't even know where the camera is. We're kind of all over the place here, but you're going to get a little more of a aerial view of the studio. Don't even know what is behind me. That typically doesn't show. We've got Mrs. Maniac's great grandma's cabinet over here that's got like salt and pepper shakers in it from forever ago, like pairs of them. Fun little fact there. So if you got a cold one nearby, crack it. Let's have a good podcast. It's episode 95. I lied. I said it was 94. It is 95. Let's put on a Ludwig. There's no way we weren't going to be wearing a wig when we're betting Ludwig. Doesn't even make sense, does it? It would be cheating. We'd be cheating the content gods if we didn't do that. So the RBC Heritage, let's see how many times I say Canadian. Maybe I just don't even say it anymore. It's the RBC Heritage. We are at Harbour Town. It's a short little golf course, about 7,000 yards, 3 par 5s, sticky course history, short positional track, lots of shots from 150 to 200, about half of them. I spy with my little eye something beginning with less than 267.5 strokes, which we'll get to here shortly. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of birdies. You know what? Let's just get off the top rope here. FanDuel, wherever the hell they have it saved out there, I will put out a tweet after this to chat about the over-under for the week. At FanDuel, they've got it at minus 115 for 267.5 under. This is the world we want to live in. The last 4 years have hit three of the last 4 years have hit the under 267.5. If I can pull up, do I even have that open? I wonder if I do. I don't think I do. I'll pull it up. No, I'm just going to tell you, there's no need to pull something up without just saying so. 3 of the last 4 years, it's been lower than 267. One of them was 267 of the 3, but this course has got easier. Last year was 267. We saw rough at 3 inches long. This week it's 2.5 inches long. Sorry. This week we saw it get cut down in half, about 1.25 inch now. So we're going to see guys scoring. The weather looks calm as balls. It is breathless. You know, you could sit out there with a beautiful wig on and just have your perm remain permanent for the whole day because that's how nice the weather is going to be. I'm expecting very nice weather from wherever it's coming from. So we're going to do a bit of closing of some tabs because my computer looks like it's lagging on me. Give me 2 seconds. We got Photoshop up. We've got the Vault up. Got the whole big old databases. Let's speed some stuff up here. I'm going to maybe ask Father Christmas for a nice little bigger hard drive for me. But you know what also will help me get a nice hard drive is if you guys use code MANIAC over at rotoballer.com. We have everything you could wish for. Me and Spencer, my model will be released here this evening. I'm taking far too long to get that out there lately, but let's smash some winners, my brother. We're going to have some fun out here. So it looks like the stream is catching up a little bit. Mrs. Maniac's doing her thing out there. So that's how we're starting. Minus 115 to win a unit in return. That's what we want to do under 267.5 strokes for the tournament. Like I said, it's happened 3 out of the last 4 times. The weather looks pristine. The rough has been cut down. There isn't even that much rough. But getting back to what I was saying about code MANIAC. Oh, no. I'll get back to you in a second. But code MANIAC. Go check out rotoballerpga.com. That's where you want to find yourself. We are providing you with everything you could wish for. Our Discord is flying. It's rocking and rolling. Our man is in there making it better and better every day. So that's good. We have got article after article after article, resource after resource, tool after tool. No matter what you're looking for, Rotoballer PGA will have it for you. Showdown, week-long stuff, in-tournament bets, the whole freaking shebang. Use code MANIAC. Get yourself 10% off today. Try code masters. That might get you 30% off. I don't know if that's still working, but 10% will be a good little savings for you there. It helps me more than you'd know, better than the masters 30%. We don't get anything. We just want you to have the savings. So let's get into the week. Let's check the model out. We got Joanne in the house bet, 0 hole-in-ones. Ooh, 0 hole-in-ones, Joanne. That's an interesting take. You know what? Let's let the ADD fly rampant. I believe I have an actual hole-by-hole situation over here, which we can take a look at. I don't know how many hole-in-ones we've ever had on these par threes, so we can take a quick peek. I don't know why, but that's how it's going to go, Joanne. We're going to take a quick look here and take a peek at. I pulled it up anyway because of Joanne. Is that how you say it, right, Joanne? Was it Joan or is it Joanne? I can't quite remember. But as you can see on my screen that I'm not sharing with you guys, here she is. These are the scores from the full field over the last little while. So as you can see here, the winning score, I have to go and find some wind directions and stuff, but I know it's pretty calm for the most part. The winning score last year at 267. The year before that, there was crazy ass winds in round 2 of 2022. I went and looked it up. There were like 25 mile per hour gusts. That's why the score got to -13. As you can see, all the other rounds after this were good to go. We've got a 265, a 262, and a 267 for 3 of them. If we want to take a look at hole-in-one props for Joanne, however we want to say it, we can do that because what we're going to do is look up. We're going to look up for par threes like this, and then we're going to go eagles and see when the Eagles showed up. So we've had an eagle in 1, 2, 3, 4 tournaments since 2017, Joan. So I don't know. That's 6 or 7, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7. That's more than half the time they've made a hole-in-one, Joanne. So we've got some stuff going on. Got some people talking about my life here, which is totally cool. I'm all about it. Yeah, dude. I don't know. The Cam Smith situation at the Masters drove me insane. This isn't the actual comment I want to pull up. This was it. The basement is not flooded anymore. The basement was never flooded. We just never had water. That was the problem. Is I try to be a good citizen, a good husband, a good Mr. Maniac, and decide to change the water filter the Sunday night before the Masters. I get home Sunday afternoon. I change it, and I snap the 2 lines, the PVC perspex lines, the PVC lines on either side of the water filter, and obviously that would make water gush everywhere once I turn it on. So I try to fix that. I couldn't. So I had to run off to Menards, go grab some stuff, come back. Mrs. Maniac gave me death threats to get it figured out because I never had enough time once Masters Week started to get it figured out. But I did it on Sunday night. I fixed it, but only by turning on the nozzle, there would just water gush everywhere, but it would still get upstairs. So that was the situation. It was a crazy situation. Crazy situation. Then this afternoon, we had a tornado watch because, yes, this is the world we live in. Ernie has been panting like Xander Schauffele in contention today. It's not been good. So this is the world we live in. But Joanne, I don't know. What did you get those odds for a hole-in-one? We've had 4 in the last 7 years. It's not looking good for you there, girl. It's not looking good, but it's okay. Let's dive into the model. Let's see what is looking good. Scotty Scheffler's looking goddamn good. That's for sure. So Scotty Scheffler, what can we do with him? As always, we would be going to the top 10 market with Scotty Scheffler, but unfortunately, we've got this pregnancy thing that looms. I don't know if I'm going to go to Scotty Scheffler in the betting market. We've cashed another top 10 on him again last week. It's been amazing. He's now profited over $1,000 in the top 10 market, $1,150 in the top 20 market over the last 12 months, which includes 21 events. So that's really impressive from Scotty. He's obviously now found himself closer to being break even over the last 12 months for winning. That's just how crazy his price is. He's won 3 times in the last 4 starts, and he's still losing $10 in the last 12 months on the betting market, which is incredible to think about. That just goes to show you how those odds work. So they are taking money from us in a big, big way. Yeah, Mrs. Maniac's got the Mrs. Maniac's got the snorkels and flippers doing backstroke down there. Oh boy. All right. So Scotty at minus 240, there's still a 10% edge, we believe, because minus 240, Phoebe's yelling at me because I haven't fed her. It's all good. A minus 240 odds for top 10 means that we are going to be going there any other week outside of this week. Because of the pregnancy thing, I'm a little concerned. We would be smashing minus 240. Put your $24 down to win 10, 240 to win your 100. Scotty Scheffler would have returned you 1,000 in that department. This is what Scotty Scheffler does. He's a freaking beast, dude. Number one in the model, number one in DFS. He's 13-3. Not going to be playing him DFS. What's cracking, Darbo? I'll be on your show later this evening. I'll take care of some business that we have to do there. Cam Smith finishing 6th and still losing to Ludwig is pain to my soul. Cam Smith not making a single freaking birdie putt under this God. Anyway, moving along. So Scotty Scheffler, we would be doing this if there wasn't a pregnancy looming with a potential WD. This is the situation with him. We will go elsewhere to the man, the myth, the Ludwig Aubert, the Ludwig train, the stud muffin boy. He is going to find himself on our card for a W, for a top 10 as well. This is the world we're living in. Ludwig Aubert plus 1,400. I don't even know what's out there right now. I can look it up quite quickly just to make sure that we aren't giving out very stale numbers. But the last time I checked, there was a little bit of a 14-1 out there for the Lud stud. He's now 14-1 in most places, which is good to see. I would be going to him at 14-1 at Bet365 and BetMGM. So those two places have you a 14-1. In other places, there's Caesars has him at 10-1. Other options at 12-1. So we've got a lot going on with Ludwig. It's all good in that hood. We like what he can do. He's been profitable across every single market, apparently. I don't know if this is, I'm going to hide this because that has not been updated. Obviously, you can't have lost money in your winning market and still be profitable. So that was a lie, but this one is correct. So we'll be going to him for a top 10. At plus 120, it's a 45% implied probability. He's our guy. So you know what? In actual fact, we're probably just going to do a top 5 because this is what we wanted. If he's an outright, we want to take advantage of that. So what is his outright? What is his top 5 market? For Ludwig is plus 260. Do we like that more than the top 10? I think the reason we're doing top 10 is because there was a bigger edge, a worse negative. Oh, actually top 5 isn't as bad. So let's do that. Let's do the top 5 for Ludwig at plus 260 tires paid in full over at Bet365. I'm assuming, by the way, DraftKings took down their tires paid in full for this week, which is a disgrace, a shame. Got super excited about the boys bringing us tires paid in full, and they let us down. That is what you call pain, Darbo. Pain. No tires paid in full at DraftKings. They just did it for the Masters. Bunch of swooning, slooty bootsies. Anywho, let's keep on scooting down here. So Ludwig. Okay. So the reason we're going to Ludwig is not just because this guy's a beast. The fact that he has the 3rd most total strokes gained in 2024. The fact that this dude, despite struggling around the green, still tends to find form on the shorter venues. If we take a look at what he's got up to on these shorter courses, he leads the field in strokes gained on courses shorter than 7,200 yards. This is his jam. And my favorite part about this situation is this short 7,200 yard course, from what I understand, it's not even, this course is about 7,000 yards. If you take a look at the key stats, we have this course sitting at an average of, played at 70.56 last year. So that's the situation in 2023. What we're looking for from Ludwig is success on these shorter courses, because on these short courses, sometimes you have too many wedges. We don't have that many wedges this week. As you can see here, from 150 to 200, we've got about 40% of shots coming from that range. That's a critical range. From 150 and out, we've got about 7 out of every 10 shots coming from 150 and out. For such a short course, that's quite an interesting layout of proximities, if that makes any sense. So we've got Big Dan in the hizzy. Good morning, good morning. Where are you coming from, Big Dan, if you are saying good morning? Are you out in Australia as well? What does that even mean? Good morning. That's good morning, good morning. Anyway, so back to Ludwig. So his best finishes on the PGA Tour outside of his incredible performance at the Masters as a debutant, by the way, that's very, very impressive. His best finishes, he had 5 top 10s entering the Masters on the PGA Tour since 2023. 4 of them came at the RSM Classic, which he won, had one of his best putting weeks, but also blitzed that golf course apart. Short golf course. Played incredibly well, was sitting right in contention at Pebble, another short golf course. Finished 4th at the John Deere Classic. I understand that's not as good of a field. That's still a very short golf course, positional track with, a lot of laid up tee shots, narrow kind of avenues on the fairways, blah, blah, blah. And then we had him finish top 10 at the Players. This is what Ludwig does. We had another top 10 at the Sandersons. That's a bit of a longer golf course. But what we do know is 4 of his 5 top 10s before the Masters were on these shorter tracks. So why would we not bet this dude to succeed at a venue like this, coming off one of the best weeks of his life? Maybe there's a letdown spot. Maybe there isn't. I would not forgive myself if I never played this dude this week, coming off a second place finish at Augusta. Maybe that was too much for him. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he brings that form in. What I do know is outside of not playing at Augusta last week, he's a perfect course fit, in my opinion. He's terrible with the wedges. Look at his wedge proximities from 100 to 150. Crap. But that's only going to be 3 out of 10 shots. From 150 and out, we're looking much better, particularly out of the rough. This is what his thing is. He thrives out of the rough. Where is it? Yeah. Strokes gain out the rough, 23rd in the field. Green regulations out the rough, 9th in the field. Love to see that. So he avoids a lot of poor shots. He's 6th in the field in that department from 150 to 200. Very good to see. Doesn't hit as many good shots from that range. That's typically what you see from people that have good poor shot avoidance, means that their good shot rate is not as high because it's a inversely correlated stat. The less poor shots you hit means you're playing way more conservative, because a poor shot and a good shot is losing or gaining half a stroke either side of that on a single shot, a single approach shot. So by being aggressive, you're going to have a few more good shots, but you're also going to short side yourself and potentially lose more than half a stroke on some shots because of your aggression. The opposite is true for poor shot avoidance. The safer you play, the more green regulations you hit, all that jazz means you're not going to necessarily be knocking it stiff from 150 to 200. I'm not entirely sure what the magic number is for a good shot. I think for 100 to 150, it's 6 feet. So let's call it 9 to 10 feet as a good shot from 150 to 200. And in fact, I'm going to just look it up real quick, because this is what we're doing. Look here, Stud Finder McGee, old Luddy Duddy, Studdy Fuddy. Let's take a look here and see what Ludwig's situation looks like from an approach situation over here on Data Golf. So let's do since January 21st. His approach play is not actually as good as you'd imagine, especially with the wedges. So you can see that. But let's go to this 150 to 200 bucket range, which is very, very impressive from him. This year, let's just do the last 12 months. But even this year, he hasn't been hitting those good shots as much as he should have. But over the last 12 months, as you can see, he's only hitting 57% percentile on good shot rates, which a good shot from this yardage is 8.1 feet. It's not as much as I thought. So 8.1 feet isn't quite where Ludwig's going to be doing it, but poor shot avoidance, he's in the 95th percentile. So that is what we love about Ludwig, is the fact that this guy's safe. So he keeps his ball outside of hole 11. He tends to keep his golf ball in play. I see the chat has said it's hellos, and now it's quiet. Where's the music, folks? I need some noise. It's been 5 minutes with no comments. Let's bring the heat in the chat. So this is Ludwig's situation. We love his long iron proximities. We love what he does on these shorter courses. The around the green game is a bit of a concern, but he's going to ball strike this place to paralysis. He leads the field, like we said, in the short driving courses. He's impressive as balls. He tends to putt his best, I guess, compared to his baseline on better situations there on this bent / Bermuda track. I know it's Poa Anua, so I just kind of took the two, bent and Bermuda, put them together and took it from there. This isn't bent. This is a mixture of Poa and, it's a mixture of bent and Bermuda. The places I get my stats from, I need to figure it out, doesn't have Poa Trivialis, which is the green we're playing on this week. So that's the situation with Ludwig. This guy's a gangster. From 150 out in the rough, he hits the green regulations the most time. So that's Ludwig for you, boys and girls. Top 5 plus 260. And to win this tournament, we're going to bet him at 14-1. That number's still out there at Bet360, Bet MGM, and Bet365, I think. So you can go grab those numbers there. Let's see what he can do. Jumping down to our third guy in the model is Xander. I did do a little bit of Maniac override to get Ludwig ahead of Xander because I feel like that's where he should be. Xander, for me, is going to be a top 10 bet. We got a 10% edge in this department. At plus 110 for a top 10, it's implying a 48% probability. Xander, in his 21 tournaments since the last 12 months, he's doing it at a 57% clip inside the top 10. This guy's been balling out. It's time to go to him at plus 110 for a top 10. I know my buddy Spencer's on him for an outright in general. This plus money for a top 10 when he's doing it 57% of the time is exactly where we want to go with this bet. Second in the field in recent form. If you take a look what he did here in 2023, he finished fourth. His last few starts, we've got 4 top 10s in his last 5 starts since the Genesis. That to me screams like we should be going top 10. Maybe we doubled down on a top 5 as well, but I think it was like plus 260 for a top 5, which is a ridiculous number. And he doesn't quite, I guess he's got one of the better top 5 rates outside of Scotty. So do we go to Xander in that department? We can also bet Scotty at minus 115 for a top 5. Let's take a look at that. Oh, baby, I like the way. And that's a little bit less to lay down. We'll determine that later. But I still think, Scotty's a cautionary tale. We want to speak about Xander and his top 10s and his top 5s. His top 5 is plus 230. If we change this to a 5th and 230, yeah, we don't even get an edge there. So his top 10 rate is where it's at. This is the bet. Plus 110 for a top 10 for Xander. Bob's your uncle. Scooting on down. We're not going to bet him outright. We're betting him top 10 plus 110 Xander Schauffele. We'll also be playing him in DFS. And this ownership is from last week. So ignore that. Will Zalatoris. I had to maniac this guy's odds a little bit. He kind of let us down at the Masters. Had his worst finish at Augusta, finishing 9th. That does not trump his 2nd and 6th that he's had there in the last 2 years. Still a very impressive performance. Playing his first major after taking basically a year off over the last little while. This is what we love about Willie Z, is the upside. So at the Genesis, at the API, he played pretty nicely. At the Masters, we got these top 10s. I don't know if I'm going to be betting Will Zalatoris for a top 5. I don't know if this is the course for him. I know we've got him white, which is usually our sign for bet the dude. So I'm going to take this away. Maybe we play him a bit in DFS, see what his ownership looks like, but I don't know. Yeah. Xander is going to be 25% owned by. Oh, dude, 1,000%. It's a no-cut event. That's like his bread and butter. And it's likely because of Scotty. Exactly like what Joanne says here. This is the thing. Scotty at 13.3 with a no 5K price tier is difficult. You've got to make sure that you've got options. Like if you play Scotty Scheffler and the cheapest guy in the field, you've got like $7,700 left for the other 4 dudes. It's not ideal. So that's why people are going to be gravitating to Ludwig and Xander this week. You can play them both, by the way. And that's still basically the same as what you'd do if you went with Scotty and Seamus Power, where you can do Ludwig and Xander and Seamus Power and still have the same remaining salary basically for the other 3 guys than you would have for the 4 guys that Scotty has. Fun fact there. So let's do our next dude, Wyndham Clark, for a top 5. He's plus 500. And we love that because Wyndham Clark finishes inside the top 5 once every 4 starts. This is implying only a 17% probability at plus 500. We know what Wyndham can do at these venues. We saw him at Pebble. We saw him at the Players. Obviously, basically won the Players if Scotty Scheffler doesn't exist. So we like him at these shorter courses. Despite having this massive power off the tee, he'll be hitting 3 irons and hybrids and things off the tee. So that massive driving accuracy off the tee, inaccuracy off the tee is not necessarily going to be an issue for him on majority of the holes he's going to be laying up on. His best betting market is the top 5 market. We have returned $244 in that stint in the top 5. Every other market so far has been negative for Wyndham. The winning column over the last 12 months, despite having, this doesn't make any freaking sense, but maybe his odds are that bad. So he's barely breaking even in the winning column there, basically. But we like the top 5 because he's doing it very regularly. And over the last little while, we've got 2 top 5s in his last 4 starts. So give me Wyndham Clark. Let's see what he can get up to this week. Plus 500 seems very fair when Ludwig's top 5 is the exact same. It's the exact same percentage. They finished top 5 in a quarter of their events, but Ludwig's at plus 260 for a top 5. I don't even know if we should be placing that plus 260. It's a crazy situation. It's a crazy situation. But we like old Wyndham for a top 5 at plus 500. So we're going to go with him. Max Homer, usually would be betting him for a top 20 because that's easily his best market. He's gained $341 in that market over the last 12 months. I don't know if we can get to him yet because we try to plug in the top 20 at minus 130 and it's a negative 2% edge. Not ideal. He does it 55% of the time inside the top 20. Had a great week last week. Said he's going to be drinking a bunch of beers this week. I don't know how I feel about Max Homer drinking a bunch of beer and then playing the RBC Heritage. This is the situation that we have to deal with. He missed the cut here after the Masters last year. Also played like shit at that Masters. So maybe this is a different year for him. Finished 41st in 2020. So hasn't necessarily played the greatest golf here. Also, been lacking that like upside outside of the Masters. We really haven't seen anything better than that 8th place finish at the API. So that's what Max Homer's situation is. He's been playing okay, been playing well. Again, there's not too much to be desired. He avoids poor shots from 200 and out pretty well. Doesn't need a lot of good shots. Obviously, that's an inversely correlated stat, like we've said. There's not a lot going on here. That's the thing. There's not a lot going on. I'm not entirely sure what to do, and I'm looking for my weight. Where's my weighted stuff? Let's go gallivanting through this model. It shouldn't be that hard of a setup. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. The weighted poor shots and the weighted greenie regulations, and that's because what we want to do is take all the different proximities and include them at a prorated basis so that it weights each bucket like this massive bucket here from 150 to 175, where we're seeing 21.5% of the shots come from, and then we're seeing this isn't even correct. This isn't even doing the right math. What are we doing here, Byron? We need an average in here. What is going on here? All right, here we are. Fixing things on the fly. So as you can see, 175 to 200, we're going to have a bunch of shots coming from this range. Whew. This is what we're talking about. Okay, back to our regular paid programming. So we're going to make sure that those 175 to 200 buckets are taken in the most relative to the other buckets. So that's what this weighted stuff is in the yellow boxes here for the approach numbers. This is what we're looking at. And as you can see, Max is there's just like not much going on here for him at all. Willie Z is very fascinating. Gains the 6th most strokes in this weighted thing, but his proximity numbers and his greenie regulation rates are pretty crappy. Interesting situation there. So we're out on Max. We are in on Benny On. Benny On, 75 to 1. Let's see what this guy can do. I think he is the guy this week as well. We are going to bet him for a win at 75 to 1. And we're also going to bet him for a top 5 at plus 1,000. We're also going to bet him for a top 10 at plus 400. So the top 5 market has been his most profitable, returning you $168 in that market. And then his top 10 market has also returned you $38. So that's what you're getting from Benny On. Hasn't won yet. Obviously bricked that 4-footer from Sony a while ago. But if you take a look at what Benny On's been up to, He finished 16th at the Masters, 8th at the API, 21st at the Cognizant, 16th at the Genesis. We've got some really impressive returns over here. Mr. Cut the Players and the Valero, he's sporadic. He comes and he goes. I love this upside play for him. Make sure we take advantage of that top 5, which is doing it 17% of the time. The plus 1,000 implies it only happens 9% of the time. So we've got a nice little raw edge there. And we have seen Benny finish inside the top 5. Not recently, but, prior to the Genesis, he was doing just that. Not playing terrible when he does play well. I mean, in the last little while, when he has made the cut, he hasn't finished worse than 21st. So like that upside is 1,000% there. Maybe we kind of go to Benny on for a top 20 as well. Maybe we just do the top 5 at plus 1,000 and the top 20 for Benny on. Because his odds are going to be nice. Plus 145. Because he's been rattling off top 20s quite nicely the last little while too. Doesn't give us the edge we're looking for, unfortunately. But that's for the last 12 months. So let's just play the safe game here with Benny. I know it's saying safe, you're betting the top 5s. But it limits your exposure. We're just trying to return a unit. If you're going to place a 10th of a unit to win a full unit at top 5 versus basically a quarter of a unit or an eighth of a unit at plus 145. That's the situation you're dealing with. You're going to have to lay more to return on that bet. So we're going to just take our chances with him, kind of lay our exposure down for the most part, and hope for Benny on to succeed in the top 5 market. Tom Hoagie is our next bet. We're kind of skipping. We are not. We are going to be talking about Cameron Young, who for a top 10 at Harbortown had me excited, but we're not going to go there. We want to, but we can't. Even at plus 210, even with 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts, even with a 3rd place finisher in 2022, we can't. Look at what this guy's done. He's lost you $1,346 across all markets over the last 12 months. It's not a safe bet. What is a decent bet is a Tom Hoagie, top 20. Let's take a look at what he's been up to. Top 20 is plus 175, a 36% implied probability. That's a 4% negative edge compared to what he's done over the last 12 months. But if you take a look at what he's done recently, it's been good. We've got a top 20, a top 30, a top 20, crappy, and another top 20. So we've got 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts, and we have a 25th place finisher in 2021. Has missed the cut either side of that, which is disgusting to see. He's actually missed 4 out of his last 5 cuts at the RBC Canadian. I said it. I finally said it. The RBC Heritage. Let's take a drink. We've been rambling on for too long here. Keystones, baby. They are just the best. Darbo, by the way, what beer do you want, my friend? What beer do you want? I owe you a beer because Cam Smith could not beat Ludwig at the Masters. Unreal. So plus 175, this is a bit of a maniac override. We're going to be eating that negative 4% raw edge just based off of what Tom Hoagie's been up to this year. Guy's been rattling off top 20s like it's his job. So at plus 175, I know the course history is shit. That's fine. We'll take it on the chin. Guess what? The course history was very bad at the Cognizant. Tom Hoagie finished 28th. Made the cut there. Maybe that's the thing. The top 20s aren't going to come through as hard because of the course history, but you know what? It's fine. We'll be playing him in DFS. This price point is horribly wrong for him based off of what he provides you from a top 20 rate. I mean, this guy's been balling out. So playing good golf this year, 175 for a top 20. That's where we're going for Tom Hoagie. Boom chakalaka. Let's see what he can do. Got Chris saying miscuts and then good finishes are not rare here. Looks good. Miscuts and then good finishes are not rare here. What does that even mean, Chris? Like if you've played bad, you're not going to play well? Is that what you're trying to say? I've never heard of Montucky cold snacks. Is that even a beer? Is that even a beer, Darbo? Trying to buy you like rations for your bomb shelter? Tony Finau, I had to ramp down. His stats in my model was way too crazy. Way too crazy. It had him like fourth in the model. It was rough. I could not put a guy who's finished. Yes, he had a second place finish at the Houston Open. He's played well there in the past. That's the outlier. We don't really have much better than his 13th place finish at the Mexico, which was a Corn Ferry Field out in Mexico at one of his favorite venues. This isn't his favorite venue. Got a 33rd and a 31st in his 2 starts since 2020. That's not what we're looking for from Tony at this golf course. He's almost lost you $2,000 betting him across the markets. He's lost you over $229 in every single betting market. The worse it gets worse, the safer the bets. Top 20 bets for Tony has almost lost you $1,000 trying to win $100 every time Tony Finau plays to finish top 20. Just saying that a lot of players miss the cut here, then yes, exactly. It's a very volatile tournament, like you saw with Tom Hoagie there. I mean, let's scroll over to this course history here and see what you're talking about here. We've got a miscut from Tommy Fleetwood, then 2 top 20s. We've got miscut here from Shane Lowry, played quite poorly last year, but we've got 3 top 9s in that 5 situation stint. So there's a lot to like. As you can see, we got Patrick Cantley missed the cut in 2021, has 3 top 3s outside of that. Incredible, utterly incredible. And then the opposite for Tom Hoagie. It was quite an interesting situation there. So yes, this is, I think your soul leaves your body when watching Tony Finau play golf. At least it feels like mine does whenever I have. Well, that's the thing, Darbo. If you watch this show, and I guess you don't do the betting thing, but if you've watched the show, let the colors speak to you. Let the colors speak to you. Tony Finau has lost you $2,000 over the last 12 months trying to bet $100 to win $100 in the different markets. That's no dice. Rory McIlroy is this weird thing. We're getting plus 120 for Rory to finish inside the top 10. He's only done it once in the last how long? I want to bet it, but also at the same time, I don't. We can chat about Rory as well. Has never played yet outside of the 2020. So literally after COVID, Rory comes in and plays some golf at the RBC Heritage. That's the only time he's played yet, was during the Coco years. But if you take a look at his recent form, it's been just these top 30s. He's just been rattling off top 30s. He's got 1 top 10, which was a 3rd at the Valero, Texas. Wasn't even close to winning. Then our next best finish is a 19th this year. Now, the thing about Rory for me, at $11,200, I'll likely be doing that. I'll eat a bit of it because despite having moved him all the way, I also adjusted his model ranking from like 3rd or 4th to 11th. I did not feel comfortable rostering him as my 3rd or 4th ranked golfer with a lack of course history here, with a lack of whatchamacallits. I'm jumping all over the place. Why didn't we speak about Cantley? Because we don't have any bets on him. That's fine. Okay. Also, Patrick Cantley not playing good golf despite his 3 top 3s here. The last time he played good golf was at the Genesis. So it's been several weeks since we've seen anything lifelike from Cantley. Maybe he takes some business at Harbour Town. Maybe. But getting back to Rory, his biggest issue, Rory's problem, is Augusta. It's the Masters. He can't handle the heat. He gets out the kitchen. If you can't handle heat, get out the kitchen. And Rory gets out the kitchen. Has not played well at Augusta, despite trying to win that tournament, to get his green jacket, to get the Grand Slam, to hang with 5 other guys of our modern era to have done it. Jack Nicklaus's, Bobby Jones's, Tiger Woods, Gary Players. Those are the names that have played incredibly good golf. Gene Saracen's, Bobby Locks. I think it's Bobby Lock. I think there was 2 Bobbies in there. One of whatever. The majority of those names are correct. That's what Rory's trying to do. Get in the history books with Tiger Woods. The last person to enter that circle of golfers was Tiger. Jack prior to that. Like, Rory's trying to enter himself into the history books that are not just green jackets. It's Grand Slams. Now that the Masters is behind us, I think Rory's going to start playing better golf again. We saw him struggling mightily at the Wells Fargo Championship last year. And then after that, kind of found his groove. Maybe it happens a bit sooner this year. He's been playing consistently well, but no upside for Rory right now. I think that upside shows up a little better now that Augusta's behind him. That's a weight off his shoulders. He'll worry about that shit next year again. When the clock strikes midnight of December 31st, 2024, then Rory begins worrying about Augusta. He won't be going to Hawaii. Doesn't like Hawaii. Maybe you should go to Hawaii. Relax a little bit. Get some form. Feel like you play well at Wailai. And not Wailai, at Kapalua. That's the situation with Rory. We'll see what he can do. I like his chances now that Augusta's in his rearview mirror. I'm winking at you. Just letting you guys know. So I'm a big fan of Rory. Not going to bet the top 10. I'm going to show a bit of restraint despite the last 12 months telling us the top 10 is where it should be. We'll hang tight. We'll play him in some DFS and maybe wait for a better, like wait for Quail and the likes, Quail Hollow, etc. Out on Colin Morikawa, are we in on Tommy Fleetwood? I think we might be, folks. A Tommy Fleetwood top 10 at plus 175 gives us an 11% edge. Tommy Fleetwood, folks, is an underrated top 10er. In his last 19 starts, Tommy Fleetwood has been inside the top 10 47% of the time. Tommy Fleetwood, about half the time, Tommy's finishing inside the top 10. Barely a difference for top 20 to top 10 ratio. 82% of the time when he's finishing inside the top 20, it's a top 10. So that's what you want to know with Tommy. If you're betting him for a top 20, you're losing out on value because when he plays well, he's inside the top 10. When he's finishing inside the top 20, it's basically a top 10. If we take a look at what he's got up to here, a 25th, a 10th, and a 15th, along with a miscut. So we love the 10th and the 15th in the last 2 years. That's going to help us. In the last 2 starts, we've got a 7th and a 3rd. That's going to like it a lot. So give us some Tommy Fleetwood. Let's see what he can do at plus 175 for another top 10. He cashed it for us at the Valero. Let's go back to Tommy. We like his top 10 numbers. I think it's one of the better in the field outside of Scotty. And I think actually Tommy Fleetwood is the second most profitable golfer across all markets, despite not having won. I am correct because it's my model. I should know this stuff. But despite having lost $273 in the outright market over the last 12 months, Tommy Fleetwood would have returned you $1,134 had you bet him for top 5s, top 10s, and top 20s every single week to win $100. That's good to know. We like what Tommy Fleetwood can do. 26% of the time he's inside the top 5. So give us some Tommy Fleetwood. We'll be playing him at $9,800. We'll be betting him at plus 175 for a top 10 Tommy, the golf Jesus Fleetwood. So that's what we're doing with Tommy. Let's filter back to where we were and keep on cruising down the board. Corey Connors, we try to get him for a top 20, which he does about 39% of the time. By the way, Corey Connors has not had a top 5 this year, despite having finishes. He's just hanging out in that 13th to 24th, like 13 to 41 range. Just hang out inside the top 20, hang out inside the top 30, float around there. Same situation here at this golf course. Played incredibly consistent golf. Corey Connors kind of suits these plotter type venues as well as Augusta, but didn't quite play as well as we expected him last week at Augusta. So we'll be leaving him alone for the top 20 market. The number just wasn't right. Austin Eckroat, we're trying to find a way to bet him. Do we want to bet him top 5? Do we want to bet him top 10? I think that's mostly got to do with the fact that he had an incredibly good round, an event at the Cognizant. If you take a look at his recent form, it's that win, and then there's nothing outside of that that's better than a top 30. Missed his inaugural start at Augusta. Tough scenes. I've also missed multiple golfers about outrights, but I think they're coming to us still. Just want to make sure. Spoken about Benny on. Yeah, we've still got the majority of our golfers coming up, so that's fun to know. So that's what's going on with Corey, Austin Eckroat. Let's chat about Shane Lowry, who's had some decent success. Yes, Chris, I agree. I think Eckroat might be running. You know what? I don't think he's running out of steam. I think he's just running. He just ran ahead of steam at the Cognizant, in my opinion. So we kind of seeing what we're getting back from him now. His iron play has been incredible over the last little while. The ball striking in this field is 14th in approach, 21st in ball striking. Love to see all of that. Who is third in approach play is Shane Lowry. He's got 3 top 10s at this golf course. We've got 2 top 10s in his last 4 starts. Love, love, love all of this stuff we're seeing from Shane. He's minus 110 for a top 20. Do we want to bet a top 20? Do we want to bet a top 10? He's only doing a top 10 in about 11% of his starts, doing a top 20 in 50% of them. If you're betting Shane Lowry for a top 40 instead of a top 20, you're also wasting money. He's finishing inside the top 40 56% of the time, inside the top 20 half the time, 50%. So for 20 extra spots, you're only getting 6% less probability from him, which is an interesting situation. So let's bet Shane Lowry for a top 20 at minus 110. Let's see what he can do. The iron play entering the week is delightful. We love what he does on these shorter courses. Still with off the tee, still top 30, which is the top half of this field on these shorter venues. We've got 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts here and 2 top 10s in his last 4 starts. 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts. So lots to like. Sucked it up at Augusta. Unfortunately, we had a top 20 on him there too. So we'll go back there, minus 110 at a golf course he has found success at in the past. Mathieu Pavon, we like this dude. This guy's solid. He played really well at Augusta. Finished 12th at Augusta. Took some time off. 3 weeks off before Augusta, finished 12th. Maybe he's recharged his juices. Maybe he gets it together for us. I'm a fan of Pavon. I'm a fan of what he can do for a top 20, but we're going to leave him alone. We're going to go to Sahith Theegala instead, and we're going to bet Sahith at 40-1. We found him. We found him lying on the side of the road at 40-1. So yes, that's where we're going. Gave you all my other bets. It's all good. They're coming up here shortly. We'll chat about them as we go along. Christian Bezuidenhout being all the way down there is quite fascinating. Okay, so let's chat about Sahith, who we are going to be betting to win this tournament, who we are going to be betting to finish top 5. Let's go. $8,900, Chris, for Sahith Theegala. Going to be very popular, I'd imagine, but that's okay. He's a great play in DFS. His spike potential is incredible. 15% top 5 rates. We love that. We're getting a 0% edge. That's cool. We'll do a top 5 at plus 550. Let's party with that along with his outright, just to make sure that if he does finish 3rd, we're getting our money back in that market. So love Sahith at a plus 550 top 5 and to win this tournament at 40-1. If I take a look at the betting board right now, Sahith Theegala is 35-1 out there. So as always, this is a good time to remind you that in the Rotoballer Discord, I posted my card on Monday morning for everyone to follow along. You would have got a Sahith at 40-1 and not a 35. So if you're looking for a reason and a way to justify using Code Maniac to save 10% off at Rotoballer PGA, that's one of the reasons. Is you're going to get my article coming out tomorrow morning, but that's going to have a 35-1 as the best number for Sahith. If you're in the Discord, you're going to get the 40. That's basically the real deal there. And that's what we like about the Discord, is it gives people a reason to get in there and save themselves some money by, just enjoying good closing line value at least. We typically find that betting, I'm pretty darn good at that. Not the best at hitting winners. Last time was Jake Knapp, who, by the way, we'll be betting again this week. So that's going to be our guy. You told me about, yeah, brother. You told me, man. He's good, dude. He's too good. We bet him for top 10. He cashed for us. I don't know about this week. Cody, the caddy, what are you thinking for Scotty? Does he withdraw? Does the baby come up? Who the heck knows? But yes, so Sahith, $8,900. Let's see what he can get up to. Also, very safe. He's finishing and making the cut in like 81% of his starts. So he's very, very solid there. A 5th place finish here last year. Let's see what he can do. Ooh, the caddy tipped Stuart Singh to win at 150-1 in 2021. Nice stuff, dude. Yeah, Stuart, that week was impressive. Sanjay M is broken. He missed the cut at the Masters. It is his best tournament. of the majors for Sung Jae. Now we get a Sung Jae who hasn't finished worse than 21st year in the last 3 years, that has not been playing the greatest golf. He enters the week with the 56th best strokes gained in a field of 69 guys. Not ideal. The ball striking has gone to pieces. The approach play is just about as bad as it gets. The drive is fine. The short game, it's like his entire game has just gone to shit. The second best driver of the golf ball on these shorter courses. That doesn't mean much in his current state of affairs. You know, like the API, we saw some glimmering hope there where he finished 18th. Maybe we go to Sung Jae with a sprinkle in DFS if the ownership is very low. I don't mind him potentially bouncing back at a golf course he's played well at in the past. Granted, he's played well at Augusta, missed the cut. We'll see. We'll see. Chris Kirk. What do we want to do with Chris Kirk? Does a top 40 for Chris Kirk isn't going to be plus money for us, and we need that most likely to go there. We're leaving him alone. Let's chat about some more outrights. Tom Kim, 70-1. Currently a Tom Kim out there to be found. There's 55s. And that's the best number. Then there's only 50s. Only one place with 55s, and then everybody's got 50s and 45s. So the 70 is nice. I believe there were hundreds while I was still sleeping. The early bird gets the worm. So Tom Kim, small hands Tom Kim, Darbo, showing up again on the card. We'll be betting him for a win. He's won 3 times in his small 2-year stint on the PGA Tour. This is a very significantly interesting blah, blah, blah. Let me just restart that sentence. Tom Kim finished 30th at the Masters, having one of the best rounds of the week on Sunday. He showed Darbo what he's capable of on Sunday to finish 30th. He missed the cut here last year, but I feel like this venue is exactly the place for Tom Kim. It's a totally different situation as well. He played well last year, came into this week, missed the cut. This year, he played pretty poorly, made the cut, but is getting that momentum from Sunday entering the week. So I like that a lot from Tom Kim. He's won the Shriners twice and won the Wyndham once, which are 2 shorter golf courses. He thrives on these shorter venues for some reason. I don't know why. He just does. So Tom Kim, let's see what he can get up to. I don't mind Tom Kim as an outright. We're going to leave him alone pretty much in every other market. I don't even know if I'm going to bet him for a top 5 to cover our tail. What would a Tom Kim top 5 be? Plus 700. Not the worst in the world. If we change that. Yeah, it's fine. We'll go with that. Plus 700 for a top 5 for Tom Kim. Make sure that we have a little bit of exposure if he doesn't quite take it down this week. Russell Henley to finish inside the top 20. By the way, if you were on here for the episode where we introduced Russell Henley as Sex Panther, because 60% of the time he's inside the top 20 every time. He's no longer Sex Panther. We are experiencing a downturn. Russell Henley is only finishing inside the top 20 59% of the time now. So that is the thing. Joanne, what are we talking about? Are we chasing Tom Kim? Is that what you're saying? We may be. We also may not be. I don't know. He's won 3 times on the PGA Tour. That's all I have to say. And hardly you ever see it coming. Unless it's at the Shriners, the second time round. But that's the situation with Tom Kim. Russell Henley is our guy for a top 20, but he's changed his tune-up. We've got 2 top 20s in the last 3 years. We've got 3 missed cuts in the last 5. So that's another great example of what our guy was saying, Chris, about the volatility of this golf course. We've got guys that have played well here too, but they've also missed the cut a few times. It's not like you're just going to make cut after make cut here. So Russell Henley in his last little stint here is deciding to like not necessarily finish just inside the top 20. He's doing like top 5 stuff now. Got 2 top 5s in the last 4 starts, and the next best finish is a 38th. That's not the ball striking profile we're going to be getting. And I think the reason for this kind of like volatile profile that we're seeing from Russell Henley is the fact that, by the way, he's very good at avoiding poor shots, which is typically what we're looking for. But if you take a look at his color coding here, the around the green and the putting and the short game, we've got 10. We've got him 10th for short game and 37th for ball striking. Russell Henley's approach play in a field of 69 is in the bottom half. It's 39th. That's not ideal. This used to be one of the better iron players in the world. Used to be 24th in this field in approach play in 2023. Is now 39th in this field. Not good. So this is what you're dealing with. And I think that's why we're seeing this volatile nature of results. He's also not necessarily the greatest from 150 to 200. He's a wedge extraordinaire. This is a range that he's struggled from immensely. So we're just actually kind of going to be out on him in general. Just looking at his numbers, I'm out. So we want to bet the top 20, but his entire profile has changed on us. So we're leaving him alone. Fitz is going to be quite popular. I don't know what he's doing all the way down here in my model. Might have to adjust him a touch. But at the same time, we've missed the cut here in 2022. Then he goes and wins it. So maybe we see another miscut at $9,600. Lots of ownership because of his course history, ideally. But he's playing some good golf. A 5th, a 10th, and a 22nd in his last 3. That looks good to me. Like he's found his groove again. Playing a bit more consistently. So maybe that's where we'll go. Great course history, obviously. It's more so recent form than recent form. 2024 has still been a bad year for him for the most part, outside of the last 4 tournaments or so. We'll see what he can get up to. The short game's great. Last year, Fitz gained strokes on approach. He gained so many that if you took his 4th, 5th, and 6th best career approach weeks and added them together, they still wouldn't have beaten the strokes he gained on approach when he won the tournament. So I'm not overly concerned about him having another week like that. That was, to me, an incredibly outlierish week. We can expect some solid results, but not like that upside that we've seen him dominate. Maybe these smaller greens help him with the approach play because his proximity numbers are pretty ass. With the wedges, they 56th. From 150 to 200, they get to 34th. When you're looking from 200 and out, it's 8th. So the longer the golf course, the better the fits. A longer golf course fits Fitzpatrick. Thanks, brother. Yeah, just doing our thing, wearing some wigs, talking about some golf, placing some bets, having a good time, drinking some Keystones. It's all a good time here on Back 9 Bets, baby. So Fitzy, we're gonna leave alone. Is there a reason to bet this guy top 20 based off what we've seen recently since he's figured his stuff out? What? The thing is, he's got these 4 top 22 finishes in the last 5 that really entices me and some good course history. I feel like he's going to be chalk city. So maybe we got to bet him for a top 20 and call it a day. So I'm going to investigate that, doing an in-show top 20 bet, potentially. Minus 134 does not seem appealing to me to place a bet there for Fitz. So I don't know if I will be doing that. It's a negative edge over the last 12 months, not quite based off of what he's been up to lately, though. We'll leave him alone. Screw it. We'll leave him alone. Okay, next up, it's time for a nap, baby. And that's Jake Knapp. $6,500, 250 to 1 out there when I bet him a while ago. That was an incredible number. It's still out there. Apparently, there's a 250 to 1 at Bet365 for Jake Knapp in the enhanced odds market. What we'll also be doing is going over to Jake Knapp and placing a bet on him for a top 5. But we're still at 28 to 1. Ooh, like that a lot. What is his best market outside of this? Yeah, when he's had his good weeks. Wow, Jake Knapp, folks. So Jake Knapp has finished inside the top 20, 27% of his starts. He's had 11 of them. So call it what? 4 No. 4 of 11, that would be a third. So let's go with 3 of 11. So 3 times in his 11 starts, he's finished inside the top 20. 3 times in his 11 starts, he's finished inside the top 10. 3 times in his 11 starts, he's finished inside the top 5. So we're going to be betting him top 5 at 28 to 1 because when he plays well, he plays well. When he plays well, he plays well. 28. Have you ever seen this on back 9 bets? It's a 3% implied probability. Jake Knapp's done it 3 times in the last 11 starts. So, okay. I also love Jake Knapp on these kind of courses. People sleep on him. At $6,500, I'll be in. I think we saw him play well at the Cognizant. This is what he does. He made the cut at the Players in his debut appearance. He can play well anywhere. So we've missed out on some recent form. We'll see what he can get up to. But what we like about Jake Knapp, folks, is if you take a look at this strokes gained approach, we've got some proximity numbers that are a problem, whatever, but he leads the field in good shots gained, weighted. So basically, we're going to see he hits so many good shots. And for as many good shots as he hits, he avoids poor shots too, which is good to see. So third in the field with a wedge from 100 to 150. Having that amount of power and being that dialed in with the wedge is good. He gains the third most strokes from 150 to 200. And then we've got strokes gained from 200 and out that is significantly bad. A lot of that has to do with the fact that he hit multiple balls in the water, I believe, out in Florida. So that's the problem. I think he took, a 12 or 10 on the par 5 out there, number 6. So there's some stuff to be seen here. This is the problem. His strokes gained in general, pretty darn good. 12th in the field in weighted strokes gained. So if we take away those really bad long irons, he's a very good long iron player. We saw some really poor shots at Florida. Take care of business for him there. So we're going to see some issues in that department. But granted, he doesn't hit a lot of good shots from 200 and out. Good shots is it's a binary object. A good shot either happens or it doesn't. You don't have like half a good shot. You have a good shot or you don't. He's the worst in the field from 200 and out. That's incredible. I don't know what the hell's going on there. So got a lot to like inside of 200. I don't know what the heck's going on outside of 200. That's just the situation. If we take a look at what Jake Knapp's been up to, hasn't played yet before, we're looking for that upside. 250 to 1 to win this tournament, 28 to 1 to finish inside the top 5. We're in. And we may make that for like a 3-unit bet because you hardly have to. You can invest a 1/10 of a unit to win 2.8. So that's how we're going to be betting Jake Knapp for the top 5. Just a little 1/10 of a unit to try and win 2.8 units, which is exactly how we like to do it. A little sneaky exposure there. Other options we're going to be speaking about. Let me see if there's other names I bet down here. There are. Christian Bezuidenhout. If we take a look and scroll over to the right, Bezzy is 10th in the field now in strokes gained approach. So he must have had a bad round recently because he's typically well up there. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like DFS in particular, Chris, this is what you're looking for from Knapp. How many drivers will hit around you? I don't know how many. He's got the length to potentially just like on hole 9, I think he'll have to hit 3-wood. So I'm not concerned about the fact that driver's out his hand. It's not necessarily the best part of his game. Let's go back up here and see. So off the tee, obviously going to struggle a bit because of the poor performance at Bay Hill. Hit a few balls in the water as well. So the metrics for his ball striking numbers are a little messed up, to be honest with you. Hopefully he bounces back. We know what potential Jake Knapp has, $6,500. Let's see what he can do. I'm in. Christian Bezuidenhout, 10th in the field in approach play. If you take a look at his weighted strokes gained, ideal, 23rd in the field. Not necessarily, this is the last 12 months though. He's only 10th in the field for 2024, which is 31 rounds of golf. Over the last 12 months, he's 23rd in weighted strokes gained. He's also 24th in poor shot avoidance. Bezzy is a passive golfer. He avoids the bad shots quite nicely. It makes sense. He's a good wedge guy. He's also been pretty solid from 150 to 200, and he's actually very good from 200 and out. Like, he's well-rounded when it comes to that situation. He hardly hits any bad shots relative to the field from 200 and out, which is very enticing. Bezzy, over the last little while, if we take a look at what he's been up to, we've got a 13th, a 9th, and a 25th in the last 3 starts. Hasn't been playing well enough to make the Masters, but he's been playing well enough to be in a designated event, which is still good to see. As you can tell, like, we've got 3 consecutive top 25s, 2 top 20s in his last 3 starts. So that's going on with Bezzy. Going back to course history here, we've got 3 top 40s and most recently a top 20. So Bezzy, in my opinion, I do not want to not be on him when he wins this golf tournament. He's playing some good golf right now. The model's not the biggest fan of the dude. It's okay. We are. And that's all that matters. We are the dad. We're the boss of this model. We tell it what's up. We can tell it when to shut up. And we are telling it to shut up with Bezzy. Love the renewed iron play at this golf course. Love what we're seeing from him looking to gain distance. By the way, we've had only 1 tournament in the last 3 weeks that he's played in. So he'll be training his distance like crazy. And I'm looking forward to seeing his distance improve. If you go follow Fit4Golf on X, he is the guy who's helping Bezzy with his strength and conditioning and also speed training. So hopefully Bezzy can get that ball speed up there. And it's the only thing that's really his problem. Over the last little while, he's 53rd in the field in driving. So despite having the 19th best accuracy in the field, he doesn't gain strokes on these shorter courses. It's just weird. So hopefully that changes now that he's got a bit more distance in the bag, potentially. Also played well here. Let's see what he can do. Love the iron play. Love all that jazz. Also going to quickly change one thing here so we can pull in a few more stats for JT Poston. But there's a certain place I grabbed some numbers from that doesn't have commas in between letters. This is the joy of running your own model, is having to figure out all these stupid ass names and then taking care of them. But now we've got JT Poston right in the mix. So JT Poston, I bet this guy to win here last year. He finished not making the cut. That wasn't ideal. But outside of that, back to what Chris has said, 2 missed cuts in the last 3 years, but we've got 3 top 10s, 3 top 8s in the last 5 years. It's a bit of bittersweet symphony from JT Poston. Now, he had his last top 10 at the Genesis, went on a run on the West Coast, and since then has been a bit lackluster. So I'm not even sure why I'm bringing JT Poston up, outside the fact that he's got incredible course history, and maybe we need to bet this guy for a top 10. That's been his number one market. What is a J? I doubt it's very good. I doubt it is very good because of the course history. But I'm having to scroll to find his name. Oh, baby. Plus 375. That's a massive drop-off from a top 5, though. Okay, so JT Poston, plus 375 for a top 10 is a 9% edge. Now, a lot of those top 10s obviously happened a while ago. But we're going back to a venue that he's found incredible high-end success and failure in the past. So to me, a top 10 bet here just is the way to go for him. Looking to try and get some exposure on JT at plus 375 for a top 10. He's also plus 900 for a top 5, which is a very interesting number. A 1% edge for a top 5. So we're going to go with the top 10. It gives us a nice edge there. Over the last 12 months, maybe he bounces back at this venue, plus 375, JT Poston. Let's see what he can do. Love, love, love that. And we also have to bet Bezzy in one way or another to make sure that we capitalize on any upside performance from him. It does concern me that he's not the greatest when it comes to top 5ing. Maybe a top 10 bet is the way to bet Bezzy. Let's see what Bezzy's top 10 number is. Christian Bezuidenhout, plus 400 for a top 10. massive loss of edge there, but that's what we were expecting. I'd rather prefer a top 10 than a top 5 for him. Trying to bet the guy to make sure that we take advantage of him. I kind of like him for a top 20, to be honest. You know, since playing well, we're seeing him hang around that mid-20s. Maybe even a top 30 for Bezzy. I feel like a top 30 is probably the number, actually. If you take a look at how often he's finishing inside the top 40, 48% of the time, top 20, 24% of the time. So Bezzy for a top 30 is minus 160. A top 40 is going to be like minus 300. So we can't quite go there. And the top 40s, you only have to beat 28 other guys. Let's go with the top 10, see where that takes us. Let's see where that takes us. Also, going to be playing a bit of Seamus Powers. Let's make him yellow. Let's see how we want to deploy this dude. I like him at this golf course. We got a 6th in 2019, missed the cut year last year. Plays well on these coastal tracks, these shorter courses. That's where Seamus Power thrives. Is there any stats to back that up? What does he do off the tee on these shorter venues? Not necessarily the best. It is what it is. Last 12 months, his iron play has been atrocious. We'll see what he can get up to. Maybe the short coastal tracks is where the wedge-intensive tracks. Maybe outside of this. Maybe because his mid-irons have struggled a little bit the last little while. We'll see. Avoids bad shots pretty nicely, though, from this range. We'll see what he can get up to. But that's Chandler Phillips. Yeah, we're out on Seamus. But the thing is, man, 26th, 21st at the API and the Valero. Or the Valspar, sorry. 26th there, which is a bit more normal of a comparative course to this one. We'll leave him alone, but we're definitely playing him in DFS. That's for sure. So that's where we're going there. I think that's all of our bets. Did I leave anyone out of the betting card? Benyon, Jake Knapp, Bezzy, Seth, Ludwig. Those are our 5 guys. So it's returning us 7.05 return. We're betting our $71 on these guys to return 464, 435, depending where you go. It's to win 500 and something. So that's how I bet my outrights. That's the situation there. Phoebe's hungry. We're going to get the hell out of here. But before we do that, we have to go and find ourselves a farewell fiver. Oh, that's quite fun. Myself show up in the stream. Okay. Let's take a look at some 3 balls going off on Thursday morning. Tool tournaments. Have they even released the stuff? Look at FanDuel. Trying to find this stuff, you got to go searching. The RBC Heritage is like the 5th last thing on the list. What are these people doing, man? Seriously. Okay. Do we get some 3-ball love? No. Why don't we have 3 balls out here? Let's try DraftKings. Let's try DraftKings, and then we're going to get the hell out of Dodge. Matchups over here. Tournament matchup, tournament 3 balls. We don't have they not even released the freaking tee times yet? Or are they going off in 2 balls? Oh, that's what's going on. Okay, so that's what's going on. So let's do this then. So in round 1, I like Austin Eckroat over Eric Barnes. Let's do this. We can remove as we go along here. I like EVR in round 1 is an absolute yes at plus money. I understand Pavan, maybe we take him out as we go along. Don't really care about those 2 guys. Cameron Young in round 1 is a guy I'd be looking at, but against Griot is interesting. Tony Finau, Adam Schenk. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Adam Schenk almost, but don't want to go there. Sam Burns in round 1's not the great. I'd take a Chris Kirk over Mackenzie Hughes at a golf course like this for sure. Yes. I will be looking to deploy a Jason Day potentially in round 1 over Eric Cole, who's been struggling a little bit, but also Jason Day after the Masters. I don't know if I'm going to go there. Cam Davis and Benny On are incredible round 1 golfers, so leave them both alone. Russell Henley versus Andrew Putnam. Some heavy odds. What has Putnam been up to the last little while? I don't even know he's in the field. $6,400. Andrew Putnam, yeah. 14th at the Valero, 8th at the API, and then just random stuff. Has never played well here, ever. Wow, that's a bad track record. So, cool. Let's do that. What's his round 1 situation look like? It's also very mediocre. Okay. Easy, Andrew Putnam, Russell Henley. So that's at 80 plus 874. Let's try and get it to at least 10. Glover and Siwoo. We'll see what happens there. Keegan Bradley, JT Poston. Wyndham and Sahith is a good matchup. Tommy and Max. I feel like Tommy gets off to slow starts. Justin Thomas and Kevin Kisner. What is going on there? Bezzy versus Chandler Phillips. What is Chandler Phillips' situation on round 1? I believe Phillips has been playing well over the last little while. He'll be at the bottom, yeah. Wow, he's right there. Round 2 is his best round. Round 1, not the worst. Why do we have random boxes in there? Okay. So that's interesting. We'll leave him alone then. Not going to go too crazy there. Akshay Willie Z, Grayson Murray, Thomas Dietrich, Stephen Yeager, Shane Lowry. Interesting. Jake Knapp, Peter Malnati. Does Peter Malnati bounce back here? I want to click Jake Knapp's name. I don't know if I can. Give me Brendan Todd over Ricky Fowler in round 1 for sure. And now we had 15-1. Do we have another? Ludwig over Rory in round 1? The toss-up? What's Rory's round 1 situation been like? Rory. Yeah, you are. Very good. So is Ludwig. Okay, we'll leave that alone. Colin versus Xander in round 1. I think Colin he'll take Xander, despite Xander being second, I guess. So Colin in round 1's been actually very good. Where the hell are you, brother? Yeah, you are. Yeah, so 10th. Okay, we'll leave that alone. Nick Taylor versus Matt Fitzpatrick. No. Brian Harmon versus Sungjae Im in round 1. I like that. And just like that, we've got ourselves a 29-1 ticket. It's 6 guys. Okay. So we'll be placing this for $5 when I log in after we get off here. $5 for a farewell fiver. It's going to include Austin Eckert over Eric Barnes, Eric van Rooyen over Mathieu Pavon, Chris Kirk over Mackenzie Hughes, Russell Henley over Andrew Putnam, Brendan Todd over Ricky Fowler, and Brian Harmon over Sungjae Im. I like that. If you bet your $5, you're going to return 153. That to me is the way to go. If we remove this Mathieu Pavon, Eric van Rooyen one, which is the only one that concerns me, it gets to 13. If you bet your 5, it's going to return you 72. It's the only one that's giving me a little bit of a heartburn situation right now. And if we take this one out as well, yeah. Let's get Brian Harmon in over Sungjae. Brian's played nicely, yeah. What does Brian also get up to in the early rounds? Brian Harmon plays solid in round 1, 15th best strokes gained, and has been consistent here. I like it. Okay, good. I like that. So That's what we're going to be doing. We've taken Eric van Rooyen out of that parlay. It's gone down about half, but the Pavon van Rooyen, maybe we'll go to van Rooyen for like a first round leader or something. We like him in first round showdown as well. Van Rooyen is a weird dude. Let's pull up his stuff here. Check it out. So yes, Van Rooyen. In round 1, I guess round 4 is his ultimate jam. But I feel like EVR shows up in round 1 every now and then too. But we'll leave them alone, make sure we're comfortable with our bet and go from there. So as always, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be betting Jake Knapp at 250 to 1. Benny On, 70 to 1. Tom Kim, 70 to 1. The other names, Ludwig Oberg, 14 to 1. And then we have one other guy, Christian Bezuidenhout at 40 to 1. Those are outrights. Our placements for the tournament, let's go through those. Just to recap, since we do that over here. I'm not even gonna. It's too much names. I'm not in the mood to go through all of these things again. We'll see what happens. You know what? Let's do it. Let's go the extra mile. Okay. Xander Schauffele, top 10, plus 110. We're going to leave Ludwig alone for a top 5 at plus 260. That's disgusting. Wyndham Clark, top 5, plus 500. Benny On, top 5, plus 1,000. And plus 400 for a top 10. Cameron Young, leave him alone. Tom Hoagie, top 20, plus 175. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 175 for a top 10. It's one of our favorite bets. Sahith Theegala, top 5 plus 550. It's his best market. Shane Lowry, minus 110 for a top 20. Tom Kim, insurance play, top 5 plus 700. Jake Knapp, top 5, 28 to 1. Christian Bezuidenhout, top 10 plus 400. And JT Poston, top 10 plus 375. Those are our bets. That is Back 9 Bets, episode 95. Let's put on a Ludwig. Presented to you by Rotorball.com. Use code Maniac. Go check out everything premium. Let me know what you think of this new camera angle. Do we like it closer up? Was the sound better? My mouth is closer to the microphone, which allows me to get closer to the desk. Maybe I need to get a microphone piece that comes like right here. I'll have like a mouth thing. Whatever happens, happens. Have a great week. Have a great week. If you're having an average week, make it great. If you're having a shit week, make it average. Let's make it just a bit better. Be nice to someone out there. Get the karma coming your way. That's what we're all about here, folks. That's what we're all about. Good vibes, good bets. Let's have ourselves an amazing RBC heritage. Let's watch some good golf. Hopefully Scotty withdraws. That'd be fun for us. And let's see what happens. Code Maniac, 10% off. Catch you guys on Sunday for the research stream then. Boom chakalaka.